Tired of feeling like you're spinning all the plates in your design business and at any moment they could all come crashing down? Are you feeling like you're so close to breaking through to the next level, but those consistent projects still aren't flowing your way? Are you ready to finally take your business from a hobby to 100K and beyond? Then welcome to the SixFigure Designer Podcast. I'm talking all the techniques you need in your design business to start paying yourself, get great clients, and finally break through that 5-figure ceiling. Hey there. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. We're going to be talking about a really great subject. We're going to be talking about targeting to the affluent client, why you should be looking for the affluent in your area, why you should be working with them, what makes them so special and so different. And so I want to dive into a little bit about how I work in my business and how I target those affluent clients, and then how you can do that in your own business too. So I've actually been working with affluent clients for almost 20 years now. And I currently live in an area of Florida that it does have a lot of affluent people. We have the home market is basically second, third, and fourth homes. So we do live in a vacation spot, and you've heard about the snowbirds. We've got those here. And so we have a very seasonal business, but we do deal with a lot of affluent clients. And I bet that you have in your business that you have been somewhat frustrated with clients that maybe don't appreciate what you bring to the table. Maybe they're nickel and diming every purchase that you put in front of them. They question all the decisions and need like 9 iterations of, this lamp or that table, and, constantly shopping you for maybe a better price or to save a little bit more money, or maybe they're even asking you for your discount. And I'm thinking that you probably just want to go ahead and have the freedom to design the best solution for your client and then talk about how much things cost, or work with great people who are just nice and want to hire experts. And, when we say that, I've heard a lot of people say, well, good design should be for everyone. And yes, good design should be for everyone. However, hiring a designer is not for everyone. It is a luxury service, and it does require a certain type of client that can afford to hire that extra layer of an expert, a person that can help them put things together. So here's the beauty of the affluent. With the affluent, money is not the problem. That is not their number one concern. They may be concerned with time. They don't have time to do all of this, or the inclination. They may be concerned with aesthetics, like, how is this whole thing going to look? How should this be put together so that it's cohesive? They know they can't do it themselves, and they totally feel out of their element. And what the affluent is used to doing is they're used to spending money to get their problems fixed. And they like to make those decisions quickly because they want to keep things moving. So here's a beautiful thing about working with the affluent. So if you're ready to start working with people who are making quick decisions, where money's not really the issue that they're having, or the problem that they want solved is, has to do with hiring experts, getting things done, and having someone put that all together, then I think you might want to start consciously targeting the affluent in your area. And the first thing I want to say is every area has affluent. So even if you live in a small town, so you're targeting, where are the top 10%? The 10%ers, where are they hanging out, right? So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about the fact that there are several levels to affluence. In fact, we're going to talk about 4 different levels. So the first one, which would be the first level of affluence, is the mass affluent. And that's considered like the upper middle class. So household income, to give you an idea, is between 85,000 and 150,000, and their net worth is about 350,000. Now, most of the time, designers are generally going after that kind of client, and that's where you're running into issues with, really looking at where every dollar's going, or when interest rates are going up, they're pulling back, so they're looking at all of the factors that really affect every dollar that they have. The next level is the affluent, which has an household income of 200 to 400,000, and their net worth is closer to 2 million. So that's the next level. And then we're getting to the ultra affluent. Household income 300,000 and above, net worth 3 to 10 million. Now we're talking somebody who has a little more disposable income and is not really worried about fluctuations every day in the market and things like that, right? And then we have the ultra affluent. Household income 350,000 and above, net worth 10 to 25 million. So you need to recognize that there are levels of affluence, and depending on where you are in the country, that may look different for you. And so knowing that what that type of person is, what the affluent in your area looks like, will greatly help you figure out how to start finding them and making more of a marketing effort to get to them. So, the next thing I want to touch on is that you have to realize that there are some factors and facts about the affluent that are going to actually give you some insight into how they think and the things that they want and the type of services that you're going to be offering. So, a lot of people don't think that the affluent in their area are actually self made, that maybe the money's been given to them or they inherited it and that they haven't earned it. Well, 71% of the ultra rich are self made. So, that may be surprising to you, but here's the thing. If you're running a business and you're an entrepreneur and you are, a small business, the affluent love that. They love seeing people who are doing, making their way in the world. They're hustling, they're creating a business, they're trying to make things better. So that is actually a great match. So I think that you should be talking about the fact that you're a small business. A lot of people try to hide behind it, and I don't. I think that the affluent think that that's admirable, and they know that you're a hard worker and that you're trying to build a business that's very, very close to your heart, which I'm sure yours is. So these are things that we need to start talking about when we're targeting the affluent. So the other thing is that they are deeply suspicious of anyone who does not believe in hard work. That kind of just goes back to what I was just saying is talk about the fact that you're, looking into different revenue streams. Most of them are business owners or were business owners. They might be retired executives, but they understand that. They know all those struggles. They were there once before. And again, they think this is an admirable trait. They think it's something to be admired and to be encouraged. And so they want to help those small businesses. So the story of your background and how you made your business come to be is actually, I think, really important to them. The one thing that they do tend to be pressed for is time. Time is everything to them. They have a lot of other obligations. Maybe they have multiple homes. Maybe they have an extended family that they go to visit. I'm sure they travel a lot and things like that. So they are really pressed for time, and they know the value of hiring experts to help them meet all the needs that they want in their lives and doing it in a timely manner. They're also very eager for competence and convenience, and again, are willing to pay for it. So they totally know that this is a service that they need to pay for, and they don't have a problem with it. So if you've been struggling with clients who are going, why is that bill so high? Why am I getting that? Show me every 15 minutes you spent on whatever, then maybe it's time to think about targeting an affluent client. So they're worried less about money And, they're just not that like power and status and security, those things, they're very comfortable. At least I'm finding that the people that I'm dealing with are just very down to earth, wonderful people. They are very family oriented. They're not going out and displaying their wealth ostentatiously or talking about it. They're just doing their thing. And so that is a very secure person to deal with. And it's so, so very nice. And they do want to, of course, align themselves with people who are experts in their field. So how can you present that to them as you're out and about in the community? Which leads me to the real, crux of what this conversation's all about is, where do you find the affluent in your town? Even if you live in a small town, like I said earlier, you have affluent people there. You have the captains of industry of your small town, right? Where are they hanging out? And most people would say, oh, join the country club or the golf club. And, that might not actually be doable for you, but there are still ways that you can find the affluent in your town. And here are some suggestions. So get involved with some local charity events, something that actually means a lot to you. Because, first of all, the affluent is always giving back to their community or to causes in their community. And if it's something that you also feel very passionate about it's an instant connection. Like, you will start to make great friends and contacts in an area that means a lot to you. And of course, your passion will also show through. Create a way for people to be able to learn about you and learn about your business, whether or not it's blog posts or social media posts or a newsletter, but talk about their hobbies in this communication. So I have done a newsletter. All my clients are all into food and into wine. I did a whole newsletter on wine tasting, places they could have wine tastings in my town, some really hidden, interesting clubs that were providing, specialty wines, which they all love, places they can buy wine, some wine accessories. And I got so many calls and compliments about that newsletter. And so think about that. Like, what is it that a lot of your clients or that the affluent in your area are really interested in? So again, charity events, wine, golf, tennis, yoga or Pilates would be one. Most of them are foodies, and a lot of them love to travel. So how could you be talking about these things that are important to them and maybe how it relates to their interiors? And so you're going to make that instant connection with them. And another thought is you could do a really cool Q&A session with a local high-end travel agency. Of course, they love to travel. They love to go to great places. You could talk about the design of luxury hotel rooms, some of the new things that are happening, and how you can bring that into their homes, because they all want to feel like they're on vacation at home, right? So these are some interesting ways that you can start talking to them, being in the place that they're at, talking about subjects that are important to them so that you can start attracting that affluent client to your business. So if this discussion has piqued your interest and really got the juices flowing and the wheels turning, I'm actually going to be doing a boot camp in the fall called Marketing to the Affluent, and I would love to see you there. We're going to be diving into all of these things that we talked about in much greater detail, and then also how I market to the affluent and take care of the affluent in my area. And if this is something you would like to hear more about, it's going to be happening in the fall, but I don't have a date yet. So if it's something that you want to hear when that date is set and would like to know more, please reach out to me. My email will be in the show notes, and we will keep you posted. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Designer Podcast.
If you're ready to make six figures in your interior design business, then check out my Design Business Bootcamp. Our next session starts soon, so let's get you to six figures stat.